हेलो एंड वेलकम, मैं हूं विकी। आज के मेरे गेस्ट इज अ कंसल्टेंट गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट, laparoscopic surgeon and the first and only scarlet surgery expert in the UAE. Dr. Usha Kiran हमारे साथ. Such a pleasure to speak to you, Dr. Usha, today.
Hi Vicky, it's really nice being here.
How long have you been in Dubai, Dr. Usha?
6 years.
And
2016 I came to Dubai.
and इसके पहले आप कहाँ थे?
I was in the UK for 16 years and then I was in India for about 2-3 years. I'm born and brought up in India, but now in Dubai.
So how do you compare UK and Dubai? 15 years in UK and 6 years in Dubai.
Having said that, I'm a kind of a person who's happy anywhere I am. So I was very happy in the UK as well, and I'm very happy in Dubai. But I have to say, Dubai spoils people. Once you live in Dubai, there is no way you can live in any other part of the world.
Absolutely.
And this is exactly what my younger son was saying. He's born and brought up in UK.
Okay. Because of the convenience, because of the warmth.
Everything. I mean, I like the sun. You know, most of the people would say, why do you want to live in a desert? But I love the 24/7 sun.
Right.
You know, kind of most of the time you're bright. That's one thing that in the UK I used to feel like the darkness is
Correct.
not really nice.
But now the things are that, you know, the temperature of Dubai and the temperature of London is almost the same, and there are a lot of memes and jokes being made out of it.
I know.
Have you experienced that kind of heat wave?
No, not when I was in the UK. Yes, summers used to be hot, but you know, when you're waiting desperately for the summer to arrive. So if it's hot, you feel good about it. There's never been a bad heat wave that you felt like running away from it or something. But having said that, you know, they say it's hotter in UK now and all that. But I'm sure they really are not actually standing in Dubai and in UK and comparing.
Exactly.
There's no way it could be hotter than Dubai.
Exactly.
The temperature might be like that, but it probably doesn't feel like that in UK.
Right. You know, we know that Dr. Usha is a top gynecologist and a specialist surgeon as well. But she has a fantastic extracurricular life as well. She is into treks, and पिछले साल last year you did 5 treks. Now we would want to know everything about it, but let's start with how did this idea come about of trekking?
Well, I have been a very active person, and you know, most of the time I've done small treks and things like that, and always been doing gym, running, swimming, all those kind of things. But it's always been in my mind that I wanted to do the Everest Base Camp.
Wow.
I think everybody has this in the background of their mind that someday I would like to do the Everest Base Camp. And the last 10 years, every time somebody would say they're going for the Everest Base Camp, I would say, oh, I want to go this year. And somehow it never happens. So the trek idea has been in the background of my mind, but never got implemented. Now recently, last year, I was kind of thinking of one of my colleagues in the hospital was organizing this trek to Kilimanjaro, and I was like,
wow.
Oh, that's good, let me go on it, and it sounded very interesting.
Okay.
And then somehow my husband got COVID, I got COVID.
Oh.
So I was like, forget about it, this is not going to happen.
Right.
But the COVID situation got so serious, my husband almost died.
Oh.
Okay, I mean, touch wood, he's alive.
So he's
but
a warrior.
it was almost like, oh my God, we are kind of heading towards you know, intensive care and ventilator and that kind of situation.
Right.
And he recovered. The day he recovered, I actually messaged the group saying, I'm coming for this trek. Because the feeling was that you have no idea what life is got for you. You have no idea whether life is actually there tomorrow.
Correct.
And whatever you want to do it today. That's the feel I had that day.
Yeah.
And I said to my husband, I messaged saying I'm going for this trek, and he also felt the same. He said, yes, go for it. And that's how I kind of started off with this major trek business. And the first trek, you won't believe it, most of the people would do smaller treks and, you know, gradually go up and do something.
Correct.
And the first trek I choose is the toughest one, the Kilimanjaro trek.
Kilimanjaro is the toughest for a beginner, is what you're saying?
Yes, it is a very tough trek, I have to say. Because it's the tallest freestanding mountain in the world.
Okay.
It's about 5,900 meters high.
Wow.
And I did this with absolutely no preparation.
No training.
No preparation.
No gym.
Nothing. Apart from regularly, I wouldn't say I'm a very excessively exercise-oriented person. I'm not a sedentary person either. But this was done with absolutely coming out of COVID a month later.
Correct.
And I'm going for the Kilimanjaro trek. So this was done with no thinking, no planning, nothing at all. And based on the only feeling that life is not there forever.
Correct.
And that is one thing I would like to say to everybody. Please don't wait to do whatever you want to do in life.
Correct.
It's either now or never.
Right. And we want to know so much from Dr. Usha about her treks. Now, Kilimanjaro is one.
Yeah.
You did it twice. Then you did Everest Base Camp twice. Then you did Machu Picchu as well.
Once.
Do you really get so many annual leaves in a year to do these treks?
Well, I don't actually work for a salary. I kind of work on a fee-for-service basis. So that gives me the freedom to do this.
Nice.
So the twice business is, I went with the group once, and then my husband decided that he also would like to do the treks. He got motivated by me, I would say.
Wow. So he tagged along with you and you could guide him that if you take a right, you take a left.
Because after the COVID, when we went home, you won't believe it, he couldn't get to the toilet without feeling breathless.
Yeah.
And he was in such a bad state in terms of mind, and he was like, I'm going to be like this forever in life, and I'm going to be this invalid kind of a person. Will I ever be able to do anything?
Correct.
I have to give him credit that he worked very hard since then. He kind of started doing a lot of walking, a lot of stair climbing, which helped him. And in about 6 months, I would say, he said, let's do the Everest Base Camp.
Wow.
He was like, I want to kind of,
so you were motivated to conquer the world.
So he was really like, I want to do something.
Right.
If he didn't have COVID, I don't think he would have ever thought of doing Everest Base Camp.
Correct.
Because COVID put him in such a position that he almost felt so helpless and invalid.
Right.
He decided that he's going to raise above that, and that is commendable.
Right.
So we did the Everest Base Camp together. And then he decided, let me do the Kili as well.
Nice.
Because he wouldn't believe it that Kili was actually tougher than Everest.
Nobody would believe it. It's the one who experienced it. Yeah.
So he was thinking I was making it up. So he did the Kili, and he agreed that it is the toughest.
Okay. Machu Picchu as well, if you could tell us a little bit about that. How difficult is it or how easy is it?
So out of the 5 treks that I did, Everest Base Camp and Kilimanjaro are of the treks of high altitude.
Okay.
Now there is something called, you have in the gradation of treks, if you look at it, you've got 1 day treks, or you have a few hours of trek, which most of the people can do. You have 1 day of trek, which is a little tiring. Then you have a 7-day trek, which is even more tiring. You add to that an altitude, it becomes even more difficult.
Even more, because of lack of oxygen.
Lack of oxygen. So what happens is, in a regular trek, you are looking at only your physical fitness.
Correct.
So if you've been working out, if you've been, if your cardiovascular system is fit enough, anyone can do these treks.
Correct.
But high altitude treks, even if you're a bodybuilder, there is no guarantee that you would be able to do these treks.
So all of that is lung power, mind power?
Now, well, it is a combination of all the 3, plus genetically how your body responds to this low oxygen. I think that is the big part. There are some people who do those treks without, they would do it as if they're walking regularly here in Dubai.
In the garden,
in the garden kind of a thing. But when your body is already spending oxygen when you're doing these activities, when you're trekking. And when you get to a level of, usually the hypooxygenation kind of thing scenario hits you when you reach about 5,000 meters. That's above the tree line. So there are no trees, so there's oxygen production is low, so the oxygen levels become low. So your body has to learn to work on the low oxygen level. If you stay in the place, like the people who are living in those places, the body gets acclimatized and they learn how to manage the low oxygen. Like all of us, if we have less money, we learn how to manage it. We have more
life
money,
situation,
So similarly, the body also does, learn how to manage it.
Correct.
The acclimatization issue is for the people who are going from one level to another where they're not used to it.
Correct.
So the body needs to learn it quickly.
So you need to stay there for some time and then you start your trek and you get some training over there.
No, so what happens is the people who we are talking about staying there, they're staying there and living there and their body is used to, and they feel the same as what we are doing here.
Right.
So for them there's no difference. For us whoever is going to that height, two things. One is to take it very, very slow.
Okay.
Even if you feel you can run up to the EBC, you're not supposed to run.
Right.
Because you need to give that with every step for the body to get used to that little bit of less oxygen, and then you do it, it gets, I wouldn't say it gets easier, it is safer. And the other thing is you can have this in, for example, in Everest Base Camp, we have the acclimatization day, one at Namche Bazaar when you reach a certain height, and then one at Dingbuche at the next level.
Okay.
So this gives your body on that day to get used to that low level and then to be able to perform the next day.
Superb. Really, I mean, all of this sounds so inspiring right now, and I'm sure that, it is not that easy the way you make it sound.
It is, I definitely say it is not easy, but my conviction is that it is doable.
Okay.
It is doable by every person. Every person, this is what I tend to say. Don't even think whether you're physically fit.
Even if
whether
you're 50,
you have
60, 70.
Don't even think that you're too old for it. Okay. It is just that you need to have, yes, obviously, if you have multiple medical problems and you're totally unfit, you can't do it. But for an average person who doesn't have any major health diseases, health problems, he or she, if they are able to walk around and do things without anybody's help, they should be able to do these treks.
And what is that high that you get once you reach the peak, once you reach the height, once you reach and finish your climb?
Yeah.
What is that feeling? Is it meditative? Is it calmness? Is it...
No, I think it is a sense, any of us do these things, whether achieving something, whether it's a trek or your profession or personal.
Some goals we achieve, yeah.
Two things we do it for. One is for the public appreciation.
For the likes.
And so there's nothing like, somebody comes and says, oh my God, you're doing this trek.
Correct,
and,
yes.
you really, your ego is like really...
boosted.
Yeah, boosted. So that is one thing, but actually that is secondary.
Okay.
That's like a bonus. Sonepeswaga type of thing.
Okay.
The main thing that the kick that you get out is that when you reach a point, you have excelled in your own expectations, especially these kind of things where you think that it probably, this is a feeling I got the first time when I did the Kilimanjaro. I went to Kilimanjaro thinking that first day I'm going to do it anyway, I'm not that unfit. Second day I will drag myself and do it. The third day maybe I can still push myself with my mental energy. And if I do that, and if I can't do the fourth day, I'm happy to come back. I went with a very open mind.
Nice.
And
flexible, yeah.
Flexible, that, okay, fine. So what? I tried. That's a big thing. Trying is a big thing in life.
Right.
You never know what you can do unless you try.
Correct.
So I went there, and the third day was difficult. First day, 2 days were okay, fine, difficult. Fourth day, And the last day, I almost crawled up to the top of Kilimanjaro. Literally crawled, because I was completely dead in the mind and the body.
Correct. But you wanted to achieve. You wanted to reach the top.
I don't know what made me get to the top that day. And on that day's experience, I would say to people, that day what I realized was, it is not the body which drives you. I mean, we all know the mind drives you, but you have no idea about the power of the mind that can drive you to any extent if you decide to. You see or you hear about, a mother killing a tiger to save her child,
right?
And,
or fighting a cheetah. We see that in Indian villages.
And you see people doing things which they wouldn't think that they would do.
Exactly.
I experienced that day. That I don't know what drove me that day. All that was in my mind was I want to get there to the top. And it was very difficult, extremely difficult. I was like huffing and puffing and getting there. But if you decide to do it, there is nothing that will stop you from doing it.
Superb, really well said. And I think it is because of that situation that you were in that you went and did it. And sometimes we live in a city life or any comfortable life, we're not able to do it. So breaking those barriers is of prime importance if you want to empower yourself.
I think we should all empower ourselves. It doesn't have to be a big barrier like crossing, climbing Kilimanjaro.
Correct.
There are lots of internal barriers you have in a day-to-day life.
Correct.
Whether it is to do with a task or your profession or even with personal relationships.
Correct.
There are times, when do divorces happen? When do relationships break?
Correct.
Because in our mind we believe that it's not possible to make it work.
Exactly. quite inspired, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this or even watching this are inspired. You've been quite an inspiration for all of us, Dr. Usha. I'm sure that the energy that you have to climb and to break all the barriers, let it continue. But before we end this, what are your plans? What are your goals?
Since we are talking about trekking and various things, yes, I would like to do the Mount Everest in 2 years' time.
So you did the Everest base camp. You want to reach the peak, is it?
Yeah, peak. Now, this is another thing that doing Everest base camp was kind of in the background, a little dream, which I always felt that I want to do it. And even that I thought was not going to be, definitely materialized.
Okay.
But if somebody had told me 6 months back, Mount Everest, I would have said, no way. I'm not doing Mount Everest. But so much has changed in the last year that I feel, yes, Mount Everest can be done as well.
Correct.
So there is nothing that can't be done.
Right.
So that's the feeling. So hopefully in 2 years' time I will be back talking about how it felt on the top of Mount Everest.
2 years, we thought in another 3 months we'll be speaking to you again, getting inspired by your stories.
Hopefully so.
Any word of motivation for everyone if they want to achieve certain barriers, that they have that block in their mind? Any word of motivation, any example that you would like to give them?
See, one of the things from a woman's point of view, I would like to say that I'm 55 years old. And
you shouldn't have revealed it. We would have guessed as the sweet 16.
I want to say that with pride.
Right.
That I am 55 years old. And for the women who are watching this, I want to say I've reached menopause. My children are 21 and 18. One is left to university, the other one is going now. So what I want to say is that nobody at the age of 20, 25 or very small percentage of people will have the opportunity, the money, the time and everything to lead the single fantastic adventurous life that we all think that a lot of people are leading.
Correct.
Nobody is leading that at that age.
Correct.
Because everybody is bound by various other things, limitations. So we all think that all the movies they show these young people doing a lot of adventure. So you think that was life.
Right.
So that age is gone now. And in between, you're so much overburdened with the career and the responsibility and the family and a lot of things. So you've just gotten to this automated mode of achieving everything and completing your responsibilities.
Correct.
So you reach to the age of 40, 45, 50, then you kind of, your responsibilities has gone down and your career has probably reached a place where either reached or not reached a place where it should have. So it's no more your focus, and children are no more your focus, and you are actually focusless. When you say focusless, it's like you are purposeless.
Correct.
And you kind of think, what is the purpose now? How can I do? Where do I have the energy? Where do I have the body or the mind to do any of these things? My saying is, yes, body has grown older. There are various ways how you can keep yourself fit, but still you can't be a 25-year-old anymore. You can try and be active and fit for a 55-year-old, but you can't be a 25-year-old. But mind, the 25-year-old mind which was there is still yours. It's still within you. It probably is a better mind at the age of 55, with the same energy, with a bit more wisdom and understanding from all the life's experiences. So you have a stronger mind. So there are a lot of dreams and things that you wanted to do at some point in your life. Try and dig that box out. Open the box. Find out what you really wanted to do. There are many things. There will be a list of things. Start doing them one by one. And you will find that you've actually become a 25-year-old again.
Superb. So that's the secret of staying young, just like Dr. Usha, unlocking the keys for your empowerment. Thank you, Dr. Usha, for such an amazing talk, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.